Tonight, I want to jump into the workshop. I want to use every bit of this hour and a half to focus on Figma. But I want to tell you a little bit about our guest speaker, Erika Presson. We share the same name, so she is
Yep.
great. Erika has always been a motivated self-starter with a passion for all things tech. She even taught herself how to design and code in high school, which is amazing. I'm trying to think, what was I doing in high school? And it was not this.
I was a nerd. That's the short story.
And I had to take a math class 2 times to graduate. So we are not the same people. But currently, Erika is a senior UX designer at Optum. And because she started so early in high school, she has 17 years of experience in web development and 7 years in UX. So I want to kick it off to you, Erika.
Thank you so much, Erika. So a little bit of intro. Thank you so much for that. And what Erika said earlier, I graduated with a degree in major European languages, major in Spanish, minor in tourism. Like, okay, what? What happened? Yeah, because in high school I was already into developing websites, designing posters, graphic design, etc. And this I did freelance in college. And also, you know, on the side, I was the IT admin for Backstreet Boys Philippines before when I was in my early career. And that really propelled me to, yeah, let's dive in more into web design and development. And now I entered in the corporate space and designing more websites over time. And that really is history. Oops, I'm sorry, I did not mean to scroll. I'm sorry if I'm giving everyone like motion sickness right now. But that's basically how I started. It really was a passion that turned into a career. And I really wanted to give back to the community, especially Femmecubator, mostly because those mentors that I've had before were my colleagues, my friends, my colleagues, my family. Actually, my brother started a Photoshop, started doing things in Photoshop, became a web developer, and that's where really everything started. All right, so enough about me. Let's dive in to Figma. I see that everyone is here. Thank you so much for clicking on the link. And now let's introduce the space. Let me share my screen just so everyone can see what I'm doing, actually. Oh, not that one. Sorry. I'm more accustomed to Microsoft Teams than Zoom. Can everyone see my screen now? Awesome. Okay, I will do this right here. So first off, your space, what you are looking at right now, these would be your tools at the top. These are that's the cursor, the moving and the scaling cursor. I do not need to go through in depth of this one, but this is where you do your selections, your frames, your shapes, etc. But the most important ones is this cursor right here, which allows you to click directly onto elements. This pointer cursor right here, the text tool, which would have a shortcut for that, which is really just hitting the T on your keyboard to allow you to type. Commenting, that's basically adding a comment for your designs, especially when you are working with multiple people in your Figma file. But really, what you need to know are like the shapes, the pointers, and the text. All right. On the left panel, you would have your layers. Maybe when you first load your Figma file, it would look like this, like pages are going to be a little window right here on the upper left corner. Don't be afraid. You can see more of those pages. Just drag that little guy right there, the line. And this side are or this panel are your pages. And on the bottom, or at the bottom, would be the layers in your file, in your page. So this one has your layer and you have items inside of it. And it's really a hierarchy of all the items and layers that you have inside of your element. If you are familiar with Photoshop layers, it's exactly the same thing. So you will have your layers here, your pages right here, and on the right side, you would have your design tools. You would have alignment tools right here, your positioning tools right here, and text layers and color styles, etc. on the right side. So again, this is the toolbar, pages panel, the layers panel. The inspect panel would be also eventually will help you out if especially when you're handing off your design to developers. This is where they would inspect your item. So it would actually have the CSS code for it. I know it might be too much information right now, but pointing it out that this inspect panel right here on the right side would help your developers when it's time to throw your design into live websites. All right. Now, I would show you how I set up this tutorial file. I would be putting in like shortcut keys on the lower right corner of some of the frames that is highlighted by the blue background. It only means that on the left side, it would be your Mac control keys. I know some designers like to work in Windows and some designers like to work in Mac OS. So if you hit Command \, you would hide that tool right there. You can follow the instructions or follow me while I do stuff on your own Figma screens. And then to bring it back, just hit Command \, again, or Control / if you are using Windows. All right. Space click drag. It works for both Mac and Windows. If I hit space, I don't know if you are seeing my cursor, it turns into a hand right now. So if I hit space and then I click and drag, I am moving my artboard. This is the entire space that you're working in. So that is very, very helpful, especially if you have multiple frames already and you zoom out. It's zoom out, of course, is your normal command minus and command plus, zoom in, zoom out. But most especially important that you know space click drag so you can move faster in your space. So those are some of the basic controls that you would want to learn. All right. Next is setting up your palette. So you already have the vision of your design. Let's set up your palette, your colors, etc., and your styles. Now, once we dive into this one, you would notice that I already have set names for each of these boxes with the colors. These are the styles that you find on the right side. How did I go about that? I created a shape, clicking a rectangle right here, and then I made a shape. On the fill panel right here, I click on that square with the color codes, the hex codes. I select a color that I like. And then with that, I could set this as part of my palette. I know it clashes right now with the palette, but for 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 um for practicality's sake, I'm just showing it to you. And then I would hit style right here. I want to add this red to my palette. I'll hit style like that. And then, or sorry, I'm hitting this 4 buttons that is actually your style. And then I'll create the style and I'll name it accordingly. I want to name it red. You can add more description right here. What's it for? Maybe you want it for errors. Used for errors. Be descriptive, right? Used for errors only. Only, not online. There we go. Create style. And now you have that on your palette. You have the red now in your palette. How did I arrive to this full list of styles? If you click on any of the elements of your screen, you would be basically manipulating properties for that selected element. That's why you see these type of properties right here. Your fill, your color selection for that exact object. But if you click outside of your element, if you click anywhere on your artboard, you will be able to see all the local styles that you have already set up for your document. So that's where you see that one. Next is setting up your typography. Before I move forward, and are there any questions? I cannot see the chat right now, so please do unmute yourself and let me know if you have any questions. All right, setting up typography. Pretty much the same thing as setting up your palette, right? You can make a text. Here, I can click on T on the upper left corner and click and drag to basically type in a word. And then I would have to select my style right here. Right now, I've already pre-selected my styles, but if you wanted to make a new style for your text, you can select fonts right here. A lot of these are Google fonts, I've noticed, but you can select one right there and make your style. Maybe it's regular, maybe it's light. You want it to be 128 or 64, however you want. You can adjust line heights right here. When you hover on some of these properties, it would tell you what it is anyway. So you can adjust paragraph spacing. But again, once you're done picking up your typography, your fonts, you can click on that 4 button again, for 4 dots, and then click that so you can set it as your text style. If you notice, I already have produced some of the stylings from here, so that is there. But I can create a style by, again, hitting that plus button, and then this is a sample text style. And I can create that style right there. If I click on anywhere in the artboard, the gray area outside of any elements, I should be able to see that sample text style that I already did. It's found right here. So that is how you set up your typography. I'm going to zoom out, which is Command minus again, and Command plus for zooming in. So now I've prepared beforehand some images. These are going to be your design assets, right? So if you think of your design for your app, of your website, make sure that you prepare your assets beforehand. And then, of course, you can import all of those in your Figma file, because that would be easier for you to make components for your design. So iconography, pull that all in. It could be, it's easier if you're familiar with SVG, it's going to be easier for you to manipulate, especially colors. So if it's SVG, or I mean, you can still use PNG, but make sure that it is already in the correct color that you are using. And these are all PNG image files. So there's really no manipulation for me. It's really laying it all out there, whatever I need for my design assets. Those are going to come into play later. I know that was more than 5 minutes that I set up for myself, but any questions so far? All right. Next, we dive into atomic design. What is atomic design? Atomic design is created by Brad Frost. It's a methodology to provide direction on building interface design systems more deliberately with explicit order and hierarchy. What does that actually mean? So with an atom, there's going to be, so atomic design, of course, you start with the tiniest tiniest part of it, which is the atom. And then once you put together atoms, it becomes a molecule. And those molecules, when you put them together, it becomes an organism. That's really what it is. In design terms, what is it? Is an atom could be your icon that you just pulled in earlier. An atom could be the text that you just made and typed out. When you put these together, now it becomes a molecule. So that's the hierarchy that we're trying to put in. Now, making multiple molecules, of course, for buttons, right? You would have an account button, you would have a menu button, you would have a settings button or a home button. Once you create multiple buttons like that and you group them together, now that would be called an organism. So that really is the simple terms of what atomic design is. There's going to be, of course, when you dive into design systems, there's going to be more explanation to it. But in simple terms, this really is the foundation of the atomic design. Next is templates, of course, atom, molecules, and organisms. Now, once you have created organisms, you can create templates now, because those organisms, when you put them together, it would form those templates. And then now pages, of course, you can create pages out of those templates. I just noticed that I did not click on Spotlight Me, so I will pull everyone over. Another thing about Figma, if you're presenting, I'm teaching a lot of stuff right now. When you are presenting, you can click on my on your avatar or whoever's avatar, and you can follow. So with me, I clicked to Spotlight Me, so you can pull all the other collaborators in your team to follow you wherever you are, or kind of like if you're familiar with Miro or Mural, you can do that. If I click on somebody else, I can follow them wherever they are. So right now, I am going to be pulling everyone over. We're still in the atomic design. And again, what I did was bird's eye view. On the lower right corner, I have Shift 1. It works for both. It's kind of like if I zoom in and I want to be able to quickly see the bird's eye view, I would hit Shift 1 and it will show me everything on the page. So I know where I am right away. All right. So now that was atomic design. And I will be showing you what we are building today. It really is a simple one-page product page for a non-existent makeup brand. I couldn't even think of anything else. I just looked at images and say, maybe I can do that. But this has a lot of elements that we could play around with, especially with auto layout, which I will be teaching next. And of course, variants. Variants in this case, if you are not familiar with what variance is in Figma terms, it allows you, it's a part of, it's a function of the component that we are going to make that I will show you later too, that allows you to quickly switch from one style to the other. So this one, if I pull this out, you will see that I have variants. Hold on, that's not what I wanted to pull out. This one. I can quickly switch this image right here to another product. That is what a variant is. We can build once, and then later on when we're designing the entire page, we are able to switch quickly to other variants that would enable you to create that entire page just by one component alone. So that is what we're trying to strive for and complete today. Now, creating buttons. How did I get to creating this type of button with auto layout? First, let me tell you the basics of auto layout. With auto layout, there would be, actually, let me unframe this first, ungroup. There's like 3 shapes that I built right here. These are 3 rectangles, nothing fancy. But what I want to show you is how can I manipulate this into always getting exact, sorry, trying to look for the word, exact space padding in between them, and or when I stretch it, when I stretch the area in which it is contained in, how would it react and how it would react responsively. So I'm going to select all these 3 items, and then I'm going to hit Shift A. I did not put that shortcut right there, but I hit Shift A, or let me undo that. I could, what happened? There we go. Sorry. Technical difficulties right here. Hold on. I did not want to flatten. Sorry. Ungroup. There we go. Or I could add auto layout right here with the plus sign. I think, yep. If I select all 3 and I hit Shift A, notice that this gap right here is actually 82 spacing in between. I could control the spacing in between right here, or I could control it right here. Either way works. But this also means that this is an equal distance. It's equidistant to each other. So 39 gap here, 39 gap there. It always is a faster manipulation for you. What if I want a specific width, but I want it equally distributed? I would hit the 3 dots right here. I know it's advanced auto layout settings. Spacing mode would be space between. Notice that there's a purple area that says auto, so it will auto calculate for you. And this changed to equal spacing right there. And it will auto layout for you. If I did not do this for the, let's go back to where it was before. If it was already packed and it was equidistant to 64 or 63, if I resize this, the frame accordingly, it will not auto calculate the space in between. That's why it is important for you to know that if you are wanting to manipulate with auto layout, make sure you pick the correct setting if it's packed or space between. And now it's auto, it has determined already the auto padding in between. But that really is the basic of auto layout. But this one, what I skipped, and I apologize. This auto layout goes horizontally, which you will see the direction right here. It's horizontal. And if you switch the direction for the auto layout, it will also switch the stacking. So if you switch that direction right there, it will switch the stacking direction of your elements. All right, so that is basic auto layout. Now, how did I get to this? How did I make a quick view button? So another thing that you would want to think about is, again, what are the colors of your buttons? What are the styles of your buttons? These styles you can create directly right here. So what I really did was type in button quick view. Let me start from scratch because I want you to see. I hit text or click on T right there. I'm going to create that text right there. This is the button. And then if you notice on the right side, this is not the style that we pre-selected before or predefined before. How do I get to that style that we wanted for the button? I'm going to just click on the style, the four dots right here, and I will select the button for the styling that I already predefined earlier. So this is quick view button, which is the same style, same font, but not the correct color, not just yet, because we are going to be building that. So now what we need to do is make sure that this is, you can double click on this to shorten it, to shorten that frame for that text. Double click on the outside edge of that text frame. And then what are we going to do? We are going to hit Shift A, which is auto layout, Shift A. And now we have automatically added in padding. What I skipped earlier too was the padding. You can set the padding for the button. So if you wanted 5 for each of the left and right edges, or maybe 10, you cannot see it right now, but we should probably do a fill so you can easily see the style. Again, we have already predefined the colors. clicking on style right here, I'm going to select gray or dark gray. Did I use dark gray? I think I used dark gray. And then, of course, you can change the text color. You need to double click on that text. It's currently black. We've already predefined colors. Clicking on style, I'm going to click on white. Now we can see that you have this as your button currently. You can readjust. You want to readjust here if you want a bigger button, if you want a smaller button, you want padding on the side, extra padding on the side, it would add more to that. But if you've already done this before, if you've already designed your button, you already arrived to the perfect button. How can you quickly copy and paste that styling? You don't have to tinker with all the settings right there. It will just take so much time. That shortcut is available for you right here. It's going to be, I think this is Shift. I forget what this is. Shift Command C, hold on. I think Shift Command C or Option Command C. And this is recorded. I am so embarrassed. Hold on.
It's Option.
It's Option. Thank you so much, Krzia. It's Option Command C. Option Command C. You're copying this style. And Option Command V is pasting the style. There we go. It actually wasn't that bad. I was close to the original, but just to illustrate again, let's make this as large as possible. I'm going to click this and Option Command C. And then now I'm clicking this as Option Command V. And now it copied the style. So next one, auto layout again. What are we supposed to do? Remember that we can auto layout, auto layout and define the direction. So now, but first, make sure that you are copying the correct style. I'm going to copy the style for this text right here, Option Command C, Option Command V, and now it copied it quickly. You can again also, I'm going to undo this. You can also go to the styles. If you've already defined your button styles for your text, you can quickly do that right here. All right, auto layout for this one. You need to select both elements, the image and the text, and then hit Shift A for auto layout. Now, you notice that this setting is, this auto layout setting is directions is down. You need to switch it to horizontal direction. And that's what it is. It still doesn't look the same. Now, you probably would, again, copy the style already, but if you are manipulating this for the first time, you can select the correct distance between, or the padding in between. Maybe it's 8. If you notice, this text right here is aligned on the top. You can select it here on the auto layout panel, where you can select the bottom or the middle alignment, the center alignment. And you can basically play around with this one, but now it seems like it looks almost the same. Again, I've predefined a shadow style earlier. So I'm just going to copy Option Command C, Option Command V, and now I have that same exact button. So auto layout is so helpful, and copying styles from previous elements are also very much helpful if you're trying to cut time as well. I forgot to say, I know, I keep forgetting a lot of things. Best practice for your Figma layers would be naming your stuff accordingly. So if you are creating frames, make sure you name that accordingly, like right here, the icon label. This, when you create a text, it will actually reflect the actual text on your layer. But if you're creating a button, like right here, and we did an auto layout, it will always rename it to frame number. If you want to have your Figma files clean, just name it as a button carousel or however you want it. It would be helpful for you too. And if you are working with a bigger team that that you collaborate with on one single Figma file, it would be helpful for them to actually be able to see what you named your elements accordingly. It's going to be human readable. That's what I always think about when naming elements on your Figma. And again, same thing. How do we make this as a button using auto layout? Command Shift A, resize accordingly, and there we go. So that is what auto layout is. Any questions so far with auto layout? I know auto layout is a tough topic. So please feel free to ask questions.
Yes, can you show back the last step again? I kind of missed it.
Oh yeah, no problem. Last step for this one, the icon label thing.
Yes, you said it was Shift A and Command C. I didn't get that part.
Oh yeah. So this one I only did Shift A, and then let me ungroup this again. Oh, did not mean to do that. So I have two elements right here. And then this is the icon. This is the text. I want to make an auto layout of them both as a button. I need to select them both, hit Shift A, and it would auto layout. It will give them an auto layout, and I just need to adjust the padding in between. But again, the direction is not the same, right? I need to switch the direction right here. And now the direction is correct, but the styling is still different. I need to manipulate it with the alignment right here. So I would choose the center one, and then I would just readjust accordingly. If this is your first time doing it and you haven't had previous buttons done, you can do that. But if you want to be consistent with your previous buttons that you've already done, you can select that previous button and then Option Command C. So kind of like copy pasting, right? Command C, Command V is copy paste, the normal copy paste. But for copying styling, it's Option Command C and then Option Command V. And now it has copied the exact styling for that.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, you're very much welcome.
I have a question.
Yes.
So earlier, you were showing us how, like, the padding, there's also the packed thing in the auto.
Yes.
Like, when have you found that to be useful, I guess?
When have I found that useful? So let's do this right here. I'm just going to duplicate this one. So I hit Command D, duplicate, Command D or Control D, duplicate. So we have done auto layout right here. Imagine you're probably doing a website, not a mobile. I mean, you could also do this for a mobile app, but buttons that are laid out like this across the page. Maybe you have, actually, let me do this outside of here. I'm going to quickly hit a F for a new frame. Presentation desktop, maybe it is, I'll just do MacBook Air. And I'm pasting those 4 buttons. So imagine that you are working on a website and you have all these buttons horizontal. If I hit auto layout on these buttons, now I'm going to do Shift A. And then I actually want them to be 32 pixels away from each other, each of them. I can do that. Or I actually want it to be filling up the entire space, but I want the spacing in between to be still exactly the same. That's the difference of the packed and the what was the other one? Space between. So this is packed. I haven't done anything yet. This is packed. If I stretch this right here, it doesn't move. It doesn't move the spacing accordingly. So that is packed. If I switch it to space between, you notice there was a small movement right there. It already auto layout for you. So if I stretch this and I want those buttons to stretch to the end of the screen, all of those brushes or all of those padding in between the brush buttons are now auto calculated for you. So it makes you work faster, if anything. Did that
I guess I just don't really know what the usefulness of the packed option is.
it would be hold on. Packed option, if you are working, so with websites and apps, I'm sure you probably come across responsive design, right? So with responsive design, elements would resize accordingly depending on your screen. So if it was a tablet or a desktop, there would be elements on your page that would need resizing. So this one, I could actually resize to, if you have auto layout is a monster of a topic. So I would recommend reading more on it, and or there's a lot of YouTube videos. That's where I learned it, to be honest. I had to dive into auto layout for a weekend because it was such a new concept for me that I needed something visual to help me out. But yeah, with this one, with auto layout, with fill, let me think of.
I can interject a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, I think we want to get to the playground time too, right?
Yep. Yep.
I think it's more of like, if you use space between as the choice here, because it's like basically as a developer, designer, engineer, you decide which one is the best catch all code, right? So I would pick space between so that depending on the device width, it follows the container, right?
Yep.
If the device width is mobile, I can just easily swoosh, like kind of like squeeze the design, and it still looks like balanced. If I needed it on a desktop in a different width, it still looks balanced. Pack will just be like staying in like a justified, left justified mode. And sometimes, you know, when things are like speed to market strategy, you have to really
Mhm.
work on stuff faster. The best, the best decision is always like, all right, this will apply on 5 widths. So I'm going to use space between for all of it. It's not, granted, it's not perfect when it's like,
Mhm.
1600 width,
Mhm.
right? So the designer will give recommendations on like edge cases like that. So it's like, I think this is more of like a engineering and design
Right.
area where they make these decisions that are like, what is the best, code? Like I would, because like in code, this will translate to space between in
Mhm.
the term, what's the flex box, right? So if you
Mhm.
use CSS, some of these concepts share the principle with coding. So again, if your interest becomes like, all right, I'm really interested in this is more a responsive design concept. So Erica was right about that, definitely.
Yeah.
But this is
Thank you
amazing.
so much. Thank you so much, Chris. Yeah. Auto layout can take you into a rabbit hole of a bunch of things, especially when you're on YouTube. But yeah, I do recommend if you want to dive more on what auto layout is. In this case, I'm using auto layout to define buttons and placement and, really make it easier for you to build and not worry about the exact pixels, what it is. That's why I'm showing best practices and shortcuts for defining those padding and stuff, so you don't have to repeat it all over again and you save some time. All right, so that is AutoLite. Any other questions so we can move forward? All right, sounds good. Next is making components or variants. So what is the concept of a component and what is the concept of a variant? Making a component is a component basically is an element that you would repeatedly use so that you only make one instance of it or one component, and then you use instances. So this would lend so much, or this component is actually very, very much helpful if you are reusing a particular element across multiple pages. So you only have to edit that component once, and all those changes would be carried on to other pages. But what is a component and what is a variant? A variant is a property of a component. So making multiple styles or multiple what do you call that? Multiple images, styles into one. So that would be a variant. Oh, yes. I heard a ding.
I think we have a new guest coming through.
Oh, hi, new guest. I can't see the new guest, but hello. That was like new to me. Anyway, so what we did earlier was we already made a button. So this is the same button that we did earlier. So how do we make a variant that is for hover state, right? So when you hover on a button, it changes a color or it changes a style. How do we do that? One, we make this as a component first, which entails that you need to hit Option Command K or Alt Control K. Hold on. There we go. What I did was make it a component, Option Command K, and actually I should probably undo that first because this is the button. You will see that you have made a component if this icon right here turns into 4 diamonds. So if I'm hitting Command Option K, you see that that turned into 4 diamonds right there, and you made a component. Or let me undo that again. You can create also a component by selecting your element or right-clicking and then create component. The right-click also shows you shortcuts. So if you want to work faster, you would have the shortcuts available for you there. Create component. Speaking of shortcuts, notice that there's help and resources on the lower right corner. When you click on this one, you can turn on keyboard shortcuts if you really want to learn them, and everything should be available for you here. So, quick side note. Going back to components, now we made a component out of the button. Now it became 4 dots or 4 diamonds right here. Now, how do we make a hover state for that? Now we are going to this panel. Make sure you are selecting that component that you're going to be working on. Create component property, this plus sign right here. And then it will tell you, what do you want to create? You want to create a variant. A variant is, again, another style of that button. Once you hit variant, you would notice that there's a dotted purple line around your component. And you know that it is a component because of that purple outline. Let's just drag it right here because we are going to create that variant inside of it. Currently, what we have is that button, which is the default state. You should rename this to style or however you want to rename it. But for this purpose, we are going to rename it as style. And then this default button right here is our default style. So it already named it that way. We are going to create a new variant. I can click on a add variant plus sign here, or I can actually click from here. Either way creates a new variant. Once I create that new variant, I will just have to, oops, did not mean to do that. I'll just have to drag it further down so we can see it further. I will have to rename it to hover. You can click on here to rename hover, and or I can rename it right here. So just take note that if you rename your variants on the layers panel, when you double click it, it will actually show you it's not the exact same thing as you click outside of it. It only shows you hover, but when you double click on it, it's actually style equals hover. So this is Figma's way of saying this is a property, style is a property, which you see right here. Style is the property equals to hover. And if I click on default, you would also see style is equal to this property, style is equal to default. All right, so that is a quick explanation of where you can rename your variants. Going back to this variant of hover, I'm making sure that I'm on the hover style. How can we make it different? I have already done the styling for the background of the hover. I'm just gonna change it to pink. We've already had the style. Remember, this is a fill that we did earlier for the button, which is dark gray. I only clicked on that dark gray and switched it to pink. Again, I can undo it so you can see it again. There we go. This is dark gray. I'm going to click on dark gray and I'm just going to switch to pink, and that is my hover state. How does it work? So now a quick, when we do that prototype, it's probably more advanced, but the hover state really is more applicable to creating prototypes. You would be linking that prototype right here. But again, just showing you what that variant is supposed to be and what is a component. Again, I'm going to skip this button right here, but how can we make variants quickly? Say that you want these images to be easily interchangeable. It's really just normal images. These are interchangeable, and I want to make a component wherein I could easily switch the variant. Actually, let me hold that thought. I did not show you what the variant is for. I apologize. So we've made this component. How do we use it? I click on it, I hit Option on my keyboard or Control. I drag it out, and that's an instance. If you see, that's a diamond still, and this is the original component. This is a copy. So an instance is a copy of your component, but your component is now packed with two styles. You defined it earlier, which is the style. This is the default, and you can switch over to that variant that you created, which is the hover. So that's how variant work, components and variant work. You can easily switch styles on your panel on the side. And say that you have created multiple pages with multiple buttons, and you want to change the color of the default state. You only need to go to your original component. Again, these are all empty diamonds. This is an empty diamond on your layers. That's why you know it's an instance. And you want to change the color or the background of the default button. Imagine that you're working in multiple pages and multiple designs that uses the same component. Now I want to change that to blue. It changes everything. So that's the power of a component. So if you make a component, you only design once, and then you can modify it accordingly, and it would apply to all your states or all your buttons in all your pages. So that's what it is. Let me delete those. Any questions so far? I know it's too much information. I will give you breathing space. Alrighty. Moving forward, how can we make these variants kind of like that? How do I easily switch from one image to another if we are making a product page? So this I need to make as a component again, Command Option K. Now that's a component. Again, make sure you name it accordingly. I've named it lipstick to lip gloss, etc., to distinguish it from the other. Make this as a component again. Make sure all your elements are laid out. Make this as a component, make this as a component, and make this as a component. All 5 of those images are components now. What's next? I select all of those components that we just did, and you will notice on the right panel, it will say combine as variants. So now, if you click on this combine as variants, it will automatically create one component for you with 5 variants inside of it. So now this component we need to name as lip stuff. No, lip stuff. And then when you click inside of it, you would see property 1. Maybe you just switch it to image. That's really just the label of your of your variants. So now double checking, this is lipstick 2, this is lip gloss. You can rename it accordingly. If you want to take out the dashes, you can do so. Name it as whatever you want it. Now, how do I check if it works correctly? Let's move this up here. One thing too, what I did earlier was I just dragged one image and I hit the option button first and dragged one image. That's how you easily create an instance. But also, if you are having difficulties with that or trying to think of other ways on how to create an instance, you can actually go to your assets. Now, this is lending to the design library, design system stuff. We are in 5.05. So what we actually did was we had that component made. And if you switch your layers here to assets, you should be able to see what you made. These this naming convention right here actually pertains to your page. So we are currently on page 5. So that's where we made our component. And that's where I'm going to look. I'm on page 5. And then lip stuff, I can just drag right there. And that is your instance. How do I know that it's an instance? It's the blank diamond right there for lip stuff. How do I quickly change it to another image? I just click on the drop down right here. Lip tint. I want to use lipstick 3. I want to use the lip gloss. It's easy as that. That is the power of components and variants. So again, the shortcuts are there, making a component and testing a component quickly. Now it's if we can have questions while we are doing the playground time. So please feel free, feel free to practice what you've learned. And we have 10 minutes for you to play around. You don't have to play just inside of this white space. You can copy and drag it outside. Please feel free. And if you have questions and you get stuck into what you have learned so far, please do ask some questions. Oh, hey, Natalie, if you are around, I don't know if you've seen the link, you can still join. Oh, the link. You're welcome. It's open for everyone. So if even if you haven't signed up for Figma yet, you should be able to access the file and edit.
I'm curious how that happened. Like, is it because is there like a session now that they let everyone become
Oh,
editors?
yeah. So this one, I actually just did anyone with the link can edit. Yeah, it's really just that setting.
Okay.
And I think with Zoom, for any newcomers, they don't see like the chat history or the previous conversations. So for we would paste in the link for newcomers.
Are there any questions? Anything that's
Yeah.
not as clear, I guess?
I know it could be a very very difficult topic, but again, we're here. You can reach out to us, reach out to me. I don't mind. If you need some help. And also, again, you can rewatch the recording and also reach out to Femmecubator for any help that you might need.
I have a question.
Yeah,
So,
go ahead.
when you copy the style, does that only work once it's a frame?
It's when you copy a style, no, you should be able to copy it for a text, right? So it doesn't need to be like a frame. So for example, you are there, I'm following you.
Mm.
So if I create a text right here, maybe test, and I want to copy the exact styling of this button carousel right here, I should be able to do that for an element as long as they have the style set. So if I hit Option Command C and I hit Option Command V right here, it actually takes in the selected style for that button. So it should work for individual elements as well.
because I noticed when I was trying to copy this one into this,
Mhm.
let me see if it still does that. And then I would highlight, and then yeah, I would just turn the text gray.
Oh, that's probably because you're applying to both the text and the frame itself. So the styling for the frame should be, of course, copied and pasted to the frame. So this button right here, you don't need to click on this one. You just need to click on the frame itself.
Okay. So how come when I copied like this one into
Mhm.
this, it changed everything, like the text, the frame, but with
I'm thinking, let me double check this one. This is, oh, you had a rectangle. It's it's, you did not use auto layout. That's probably because that's probably the reason why it did not copy exactly the same.
oh,
So you would need an auto layout here. So um, what you need is make this an auto layout and then copy that.
okay. So they
Let me
always
do,
so they always
yeah.
have to be an auto layout first.
It doesn't have to be an auto layout. It could be just a frame or whatnot, but it should be whatever you're copying, it should be exactly the same structure, at least structurally, as when you're pasting. So now that there we go.
I see. So if the original component used auto layout, you should also use auto layout in your stuff, even if it's in a default kind of like Command A, Shift A only, right?
Yep.
I see. Cool, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I mean, once you master all of these shortcuts, you're going to be designing so quickly on Figma. All right. How's everyone doing? So those, awesome.
It's a lot to take in right now.
It is. I apologize. It is a lot to take in, but you do have the recording to be
Yeah.
that's going to be sent out to you, and feel free. This is the playground. This is a file that you can copy to your Figma. Actually, you can duplicate this into your files, into your drafts, so you can play around with it offline, or
Cool.
you can play with it here.
Awesome.
Natalie,
Wait,
I
can you
can't
show
find the place. Yeah, go ahead.
can you show how to duplicate again? I think I'm
Oh yeah, no problem. So the caret right here, on the title of the Figma file, right beside free, you can duplicate, and it should duplicate right away for you. Oh, because I already had, like, this is a free account for me, so I already hit the maximum of 3 projects. But if you don't have any other project or any other files in your Figma file, it should just allow you to duplicate it.
okay, it works for me. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I have 3 projects on there already. Yeah, Figma, since it's free, allows you for 3 projects maximum for the free account. But yeah, so that's it. Let's go for the next ones. Really, how do we probably go through this fast, since this is really just a concept of combining components and combining what we've already built before. Again, I used auto layout right here. These are individual components that we've worked in earlier. This is a text layer. Did not want to do that. I'd like to just arrange it accordingly, maybe the way how I see it right here. And again, this is a component that I have made previously, and I just want to get an instance. Oh, I did not want to do that. I just want to get an instance of it. So that's an instance right there, which I dragged with option click and drag the text right there, and then the button. Oops. I did not want to zoom in so much. So now I just wanted it right there. I wanted to duplicate this, again, Command D or Control D on your computer. I just want to make another one right there, and maybe half the star. Again, once you make your component, it's going to be easily designing your stuff. I want to do that. Now, auto layout here has different layers. I want to be able to define auto layout for these three. Shift A, I want them exactly to be 2 pixels away from each other. I want this again as an auto layout, and I want them to be 16 pixels away from each other, or maybe just 4. 16 is too far. Now, these are all individual elements that I need to stack vertically. I had to put auto layout here because it's a different direction than the rest. So I would need to have this horizontally auto layout, again, horizontal direction right there. And I would need for all of these to stack accordingly vertically. So, oh, I did do that. Let me select all of those elements right there. Hit Shift A for auto layout. And there you have it. They already are in auto layout. And this one, I actually had it. What is the difference? 16 each padding right here, but we don't want to, we don't really need to dive into that as long as it looks the same, kind of. But again, creating this component, text, component for a button, components for the star, and text again, you make a bigger component, which is what we called a molecule earlier, or wait, atom, molecules, organism. This is an organism now. So now, making this as a component will help you. Command Option K. And if you have like variants of this that you want to do, you can do so. But again, it's totally up to you how you want to build your page. You don't really have to build it as a component, but again, you can duplicate it and change this quickly to a different product, which is maybe lip gloss. Change this to lippy, and then change this to a whopping 50 bucks. I don't know if there's a 50 bucks worth of lip gloss. There maybe there is one
For sure.
for sure.
I have a actually
Yeah.
I want to suggest to and I know we're gonna try to like watch the time if we're getting close to closing off, right? But
Right.
before that, I want to put it out to the audience if they would rather play with this last
Right.
lesson, or do they want to see you put them all together on like a page 7 demo?
This one.
Yeah. Would you guys want to extend a couple of minutes just to see how she puts it together? Or would you rather play around the last organism that Erika worked on?
This one.
Yeah, it's a question for the audience.
I want to see
Natalie,
how
yeah.
she puts it together, but yeah.
Torn. Are you torn?
Yeah. I agree. I have my vote on that too for the sake of the recording. And then we have a
Okay.
lot of folks in the chat who are interested in a part two. So we'll talk later. That might not be a lit talk. So we'll ask Erica if she's available. But yeah,
Yeah.
so let's just wrap up the
All
lesson
right.
so that we can have in the recording then.
Sounds good. So again, once you built your components, you should be more or less prepared to put them all together. So this is page 7 where we put all the things together. I made up a logo for a makeup store. I already put in different what do you call it, components for each of the things that I need to put together. I already have what do you call this, hover states for each of the buttons. And what I did not show you earlier was the prototype mode, wherein you can put an interaction in your element, in your component variant, and while hovering, it actually tells Figma, hey, when I hover on this element, change it to this variant. So really, that's what those hover states are for. So now, how do I build this? Let me show. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Let me show you quickly. I'm hoping Figma loads quickly. There we go. How does it become like this? And when I hover on it, now you see that it's changing color. When I also click on it, I'm probably not going to be able to do so right here. No, I broke the prototype. But as you can see, I was able to build this page with these elements right here. All right. Hold on. Let me zoom in. This is a frame that is mostly commonly used. It's a 320 by 568. It's probably a phone. What did I use even before? This one, iPhone SE. Easy, quick. You can change, you can build that, you can get that frame easily by typing or hitting F on your keyboard, and this panel will change and let you choose whatever frame it is for what you're designing for. All right, now I have that menu navigation bar right there. And again, I could easily, sorry, let me just put it right here. I could easily just option again and drag to create an instance, or I could take in that assets from there, from page 7. I should be able to drag that navigation component that I already built. So again, once you build your components, it will be available under your assets and local components and wherever that page you built those components. And I don't really need a text right here. Let's pull this back again. That's the menu. I did not show you this one, but this is a property that you can manipulate in Figma. And then I need that logo right there, but it's also available in this. I can just build it quickly for you. I need an icon that I already built, and I want that search. Again, components and variant are your friends. Then auto layout right there. Now we have that first row. Now, what are we doing next? The brushes. The brushes button. I always scroll. I'm sorry about that, but I can also just grab it right here, duplicate it. Since I already made a component of the illustrations inside of it, I can easily switch. And this is actually, we want lip care. Lip care. And then type it accordingly. If you notice the auto layout, it actually hugs the text. So if I type in longer, it actually auto adjusts everything. So that's one feature of that auto layout. And again, I made a hover state for this. So, or selected state for it. I can just switch that to that state. And again, I can duplicate this right here and then go into that illustration, change the illustration to an eye makeup right there, and then eye makeup. If I can type quickly, there we go. Now, we built this earlier, so I don't have to explain how to build it. It's actually this component right here. Again, change it, duplicate it, however you need it. And then once you click on the image itself, which we already did a lot of variants on it. I'll just do that. And now we have that. We want this auto layout. We want this row auto layout. We want this entire thing auto layout. So you can adjust accordingly. So you can adjust that in one fell swoop. So next is this bar right here. What I really need is that same icon pair, but I want to be able to change this to home, duplicate that one, change this to faves, cart, change this to cart, cart, cart. There you go. And change this to account, user, and name it accordingly. But I'm not going to do that right now since we are pressed for time. But I framed it again in auto layout. I'm going to put a fill into it, which is white. And I'm just going to drag it up there and put maybe 10, or actually Command Shift. Let's go Option Command Copy, copying the styling for the frame. Option Command V, paste in it. And now we are going to do that space between. And that's how you build it.
Woohoo! Isn't it so funny?
Awesome.
Like in the end, now we saw how space between is essential in that page.
Yep.
There was like a time clock here. It's like, what is the best way to do this fast?
Yep. All right. Yeah, I definitely agree. It's kind of mind blowing and also just too much information. I again, I learned Figma just by diving into it and just watching tons of videos. Anyway, my outro is I've been in this industry for 20 years. I know Erika mentioned 17 years professionally. I've been doing freelance work, but I turned my hobby something that I really love into something that I can earn money and, have a purpose and reason for living. And I really, really love my work, and I can't imagine doing anything else but design, UX design, web development. It's really passion turned into career. So that's really what I really want to impart to you. If you want it, go for it. There's nothing stopping you. You have all the resources that you need online. And that's it for me. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And credits right here for more information on what I used. But thank you again, Femmecubator, for inviting me for this lit talk. And I appreciate you all so much. And until next time, I know we're talking about a part 2, but I'm all for it.
Oh my God, Erika, we appreciate you. Like, that was intense. And like you said, it's very hard and you just have to like dive in, and we appreciate you so much. So we'll wrap up. As you all know, there's a recording coming. I know for me, I'm just gonna like take it slow, be able to pause when I need to with the recording. But if you all, and Erika, I know you're a mentor for Femmecubator. So if you all want to reach out to Erika in any way, you have her on our Slack channel, right? Is Slack, that's what, okay, amazing. Well, thank you again for spending your time with us. And I hope you all have a great evening until we see you at the next event. Thank you.
See ya. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Erika. Thank you so much.
Erika.
Thank you all.